What is going on, guys? I just got back from my 2 mile first run in the Brooks Ghost 17s, which actually just came out today. So let me give you guys my first impressions on the shoe. It was a little bit hot today and I ran a little bit faster, so excuse the sweat, but let's get right into the first impressions of the outsole on the Ghost 17. So as you can see, the outsole looks very reminiscent of last year's Brooks Ghost 16, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I thought that that was a very solid daily trainer. And as you can see, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what Brooks did. I do feel like just from the touch of this outsole rubber compound, I feel like it's a little bit tackier and a little bit stickier, but that's just my opinion. I don't exactly have the facts to back that up. And on my 2 mile first run, I ran on asphalt as well as it was pretty hot and pretty dry conditions, and the outsole performed very, very well. It was sticking to the ground like glue, but that's to be expected as this is a brand new outsole and I wouldn't expect anything different in ideal weather conditions. Maybe it was a little bit hot. The traction on the outsole performed very well. As for durability, obviously this is a first run review, so I can't speak too much on the durability of the outsole, but I will say that just like every other Ghost that I've ever owned, the outsole is very thick on this shoe, so I do feel like even though it is a softer rubber compound, this shoe is going to last a long, long time. So overall, the outsole performed very well from a durability point of view as well as a traction point of view, and I don't really expect anything different in the full length, full review, which will come out probably in a week or two. Now moving on to the cushion of the Brooks Ghost 17, and honestly I wasn't really expecting a complete redesign from Brooks on the Ghost 17s, but here we are, we got it. And I believe this is technically on paper the same foam as last year's, but I'm pretty sure they changed up the rubber compound or the midsole compound on this shoe. So as you can see on the heel medial side, it does say DNA Loft, and I will fact check myself on the screen above to make sure that it is DNA Loft V3, but from a first impression standpoint, the heel is 37 millimeters dropping to 27 millimeters in the forefoot, giving it actually a 10 millimeter heel to toe drop, which is pretty crazy because in my memory, Ghosts have always been 12 millimeter heel to toe drop. So that is pretty interesting from Brooks coming out with this shoe this year. So overall, how did the midsole perform in my quick little 2 mile run? I personally thought it was pretty interesting. I felt that it was softer than last year's model, so if you do prefer a softer, minimal setup, I think that you're going to really like the Ghost 17. As I did say, I ran a little bit faster in the shoe, and for me personally, with that 27 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, I did feel the ground quite a bit, and I did feel the rubber outsole quite a bit. I compressed the foam quite a lot as I am a heavier runner, and while I was running faster, I just felt like I was turning over the shoe, and I was really compressing the forefoot, really feeling the ground, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that that goes hand in hand with stability, which I'll talk a little bit about. I thought that the stability on the shoe was phenomenal. This is a neutral road running shoe, but I do feel that since it is lower to the ground, at least in my experience, I felt that the stability was really, really good in the shoe because it felt pretty minimal in my opinion. So the DNA Loft V3, if I had to describe it compared to last year's, I do feel like it was a little bit softer. It felt a little bit lower to the ground because I was compressing the foam. And overall, it did remind me a little bit of Brooks Glycerin Max's DNA Tuned foam, which is pretty crazy to say because that is a $200 shoe. I just feel like since that foam is a little bit softer and this foam got updated this year to become a little bit softer, that's just what it reminded me of. I did feel like I was compressing the foam in the Brooks Glycerin Max quite a bit, and even though that was a very tall shoe with an aggressive rocker, I did feel like I compressed the forefoot quite a bit in that shoe, and I did get that same feeling in the Ghost 17. So if you don't want to feel the ground at all, this may not be the daily trainer for you, but if you do like a little bit of ground feel as well as you do like a softer setup, I think that the Ghost 17 might be right up your alley, and bonus points because it is a very stable shoe just from a first impression. Now when it comes to the upper of the Ghost 17, honestly, Brooks's uppers are usually pretty solid, and that's no different on the Ghost 17. I do feel like this is a thicker mesh material, and overall, I felt that it fit true to size. There was definitely enough room for my wider than average foot in the forefoot, and then the midfoot lockdown as well as the heel lockdown was superb, as I would expect in a Brooks shoe. They are usually pretty consistent. They did change the heel collar a little bit to give us this Achilles pillow this year, and they did change the eyelets to give a little bit of rubberized eyelets for extra, I guess, durability and just the feel. And overall, the upper was very comfortable. Not the most breathable upper. When I do the light test, I don't see a lot of light peeking through, as well as on that hot run, I didn't feel a lot of air or breathability in my foot while I was running. So if breathability is something that you look out for, then this probably isn't the shoe for you. As for the tongue was very comfortable, didn't move at all. It is not a gusseted tongue, believe it or not. So I don't know. I mean, to be honest, with gusseted tongues, without gusseted tongues, as long as the fit is good and the tongue is not moving around a lot while I run, I don't really mind if it's gusseted or not. And this is a pretty well padded tongue, in my opinion. So overall, the upper was very plush, very comfortable. It's more on the maximalist side when it comes to upper. It's not going to be paper thin like some other shoes, but I do feel that it is going to shine in the durability aspect for the upper. So overall, heel lockdown, fit, true to size. Very supportive upper. I think that this upper is pretty standard and it's going to do very well for a lot of different people. So overall, my first run review on the Go 17s, I do think that this is a solid daily trainer. I'm gonna have to throw some different paces and some different length runs for this shoe's full review, just because I feel like with that faster, shorter run, I did feel the ground a lot, but I wanna see that if I push the mileage a little bit, whether I run 10 miles or a half marathon in this shoe, I wanna see if that forefoot cushioning is enough for me personally. And another thing that I do want to note is after the longest time, I believe the Ghost line was always priced at $140, or at least I think the Ghost 15 and Ghost 14 were around $140 retail. They actually upped the price of the Ghost 17 to a whopping $150, which I personally have mixed feelings about. I know it's just $10, but I think $140 for a daily trainer is already a lot of money. And I think that $150, if all these brands start pricing their daily trainers, their non-plated daily trainers at $150, I'm gonna throw a fit, because I just feel like it's super, super expensive to buy all of these running shoes, or even just if you buy one running shoe, I don't think that it should cost $150, but you know, that's just my personal opinion. So I am going to factor that into my full review when it comes to a value standpoint. There are still brands out there that are releasing daily trainers for $140. So that is going to be a knock against the Brooks Go 17, unless it has some type of miraculous comeback, or I break in the foam and it automatically feels like a Super Blast or something. Yeah, it's gonna have to claw its way back, because that $150 price point is already bringing it down a notch just for me, from a value point of view. But overall, it seems like it's going to be a very solid shoe. Like I said, if you want something that's stable, that's a little bit lower to the ground, but still a soft feel, and a very solid upper and outsole, I think that this is going to be the shoe for you. Especially if you really love the designs or the colorways, I think that you're going to really enjoy this shoe. But then again, that price point, I'm a little salty that they upped the price this year, but that's a topic for another day. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, stay tuned for the full review. I'll have it out in 1 to 2 weeks. Also an update on the Hoka Clifton 10 full review. I'm sorry I'm lagging a little bit on that one, but I do plan on releasing it hopefully tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, so please be patient with me. Honestly, spoiler alert, I don't really like that shoe, so maybe there's a reason I'm putting off the full review. But yeah, stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for the full review on the Brooks Go 17. And also, how about those Adidas Boston 13s? I don't know what's going on with those. I thought they were releasing at the end of April, but I think Adidas did that whole drawing thing again, which I'm not a fan of at all. So we'll see if I can get my hands on a pair sometime in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.